The Trade Manager TF Expert is offered for various platforms on the TradingFinder website. From this section, you can download the expert file for the MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 platforms and run it on the chart. Traders can also visit this page to learn how the expert advisor works. We select the expert file from the navigator section and execute the expert by dragging the file onto the chart. Just make sure that the Allow Automated Trading option is enabled, and then click the OK button. Once the expert is running on the chart, two panels will be displayed on the chart. Expert. The Trade Manager TF is a special and practical tool for managing trades, risk management, and capital management on the price chart. In the main panel, we have 5 tabs: the Trade tab, Pending tab, Information tab, Partial Exit tab, and finally, the Break-Even and Trailing Setup tab. On the right side, you can see the remaining time until the current candle closes, along with the spread amount of the trading symbol. At the top of the panel, there are 2 options. By clicking on the first option, the expert will close and disappear from the chart. By clicking on the second option, the expert will be minimized, and you can only see the remaining time until the current candle closes. If you click the minimize option again, the expert will return to its default size. By clicking on the option in the bottom right, the second panel will disappear from the chart, and by clicking again, the second panel will be displayed. In the Magic Panel section, you can select the entry volume for trades based on lots, percentages, or dollars, along with your buy and sell positions. You can also set up pending trades by clicking on the pending buy or pending sell options here. And at the bottom, there are options for managing trades. By clicking on the Trade Artist tab, a panel will be displayed where you can select the volume to enter the trade based on lots, based on ticks, or based on dollars. In the lower section, you have the ability to set the stop loss and take profit based on pips, ticks, and price, where you can enter your desired amount. Here I will define the entry volume in lots and I set the stop loss level based on points. One thing to note here is when activating the stop loss and take profit, when you activate them, the levels are fixed and cannot be moved. By double-clicking on this level, you can adjust your stop loss and take profit levels. When you click on a buy position, it will be executed. Here, I am disabling the stop loss and take profit levels. In the executed position, you can see the levels. At the first level, the entry point is displayed in blue, which indicates the type of position, the entry price for the trade, along with the entry volume. And finally, you can see the profit or loss. You can easily move your stop loss and take profit levels directly on the chart by simply dragging them to your desired positions. Additionally, by clicking on a buy position, the order will be executed for you automatically, ensuring a seamless trading experience. Here, I am demonstrating the process of disabling the stop loss and take profit levels, which can be done by accessing the settings and unchecking the respective options. In the executed position, you can see the levels. At the first level, the entry point is displayed in blue, which indicates the type of position, the entry price for the trade, along with the entry volume. And finally, you can see the profit or loss in this section. You can see the stop loss level in red, which shows the distance from the stop loss level to the entry point calculated in points. You can also see your percentage of loss, the stop loss price level, along with the dollar amount of the loss in this section. At the next level, the take profit level, or A, is displayed in green, and you can see the distance from the take profit to the entry point based on points in this section. Your percentage profit, and finally, your dollar profit are displayed here. There are 4 options in the entry point area. Clicking on the first option closes the position. Clicking on the second option hides the profit and loss ticks from the indicator. By clicking on Needle 3, if you have enabled the trailing stop settings, trailing stop will be performed for you. And by clicking on Needle 4, if you have enabled the BreakEven settings, BreakEven mode will be activated for this position at the start. Here I am closing this position. By clicking on Pending, you can view the pending panel. I choose the trade volume based on a percentage. I activate my stop loss level. Here with an amount of 1%. I choose the stop loss level along with the take profit level based on the price. And finally, I select the pending cell and activate the pending cell. The expert advisor automatically detects whether the pending order is a stub or limit order and displays it in this section. If you have selected the pending cell and the entry level is below the price, it will be identified as a sell stop. And if it's above the price, it will be recognized as a sell limit. By clicking on the Set Order option, I set my order here. I will deactivate the take profit level, and today, you can see the pending sell stop here. By clicking on the BreakEven and Trailing Stop tab, you can see the panel related to the settings for BreakEven and Trailing Stop. There are two types of breakaway win mode, where you can choose between the reward type or the point type. If you have selected the reward type, you can enter your desired reward in this section, which is set to a default of 1. When the price reaches this reward level, the break-even will be applied for you, and your stop loss will move from the loss limit to the break-even point 1, making your trade risk-free. If you have selected the point option, you can enter your desired point amount in this section. When the price reaches the specified point amount, the break-even will be executed, and the stop loss will be moved to the entry point. In the next section is the Trailing Stop tab, which, if you enable, you can use this section. You can set the trailing stop based on 8 indicators, which include simple, moving average, ATR, fractal, parabolic SAR, pivot bar, Bollinger Bands, and finally, zigzag. If you select the simple mode, the settings related to the simple indicator will be activated. In the point section, you can set the trailing stop activation level, which is set to the point level by default to max. In the next section, you can set the trailing stop level, which is set to 2 points by default. In the next section, you can set the trailing stop movement step, which is set to 1 step by default. If I choose the amount to 50 points and, for example, set the SEP to 3, if the price reaches the 100-point level, the trailing stop will be activated for me and my stop loss will be set to the 50-point level. It will repeat the trailing stop for me 3 times, meaning if I had entered a position here and my entry point was at this level, my loss limit is in this section, and my profit limit is in this section. If the price has crossed the set point level, that is, for example, the specific set point level we are considering here, as you can see, the expert will automatically set the loss limit. It moves to the 50-point level, and if the price is above the 100-point level, and more, it moves to 150 points by repeating 3 steps. If the price is above the 150-point level. The next indicator is the moving average, where you can set the point at which the trailing stop is activated. The moving average period along with the index, which is set to 2 by default. If this option is set to 2, the moving average is calculated based on the second candle, and the trailing stop is placed on the second candle. In the next section, you can select the time period for calculating the moving average, which is set to 5 minutes by default. In the next section, you can select the moving average method, which is you can consider simple, exponential, smooth, and linear weighted, and lower the type of price calculation in this section, which can be changed based on close, open, high, low, median, typical, and weighted. For better understanding, I ran the moving average on another symbol. Here we see the moving average according to the example we gave. If this is the entry level for the trade, we see in this section that the moving average has entered this section, and if it is at this level, we see that the price enters this section, and the stable level enters this section. By selecting the ATR mode, or you can select the ATR factor period, both, and the ATR time frame, which is the input factor as a threshold. For the ATR factor and the bottom of the trailing stub, if you select the fractal encoder, you can select the scan bar, or, which is similar to mine. I'll choose 2 and the 1 hour time frame. For a more comprehensive understanding here, I've run the fractal indicator. Here we've set the scan bar to 2, meaning if you're in a buy position, to provide clarity, it selects the second fractal pulse, and if you are in a sell position, it considers the second fractal signal for the rallying stub. For example, in this section, it moves. By selecting the parabolic SAR indicator, you can set the stop, index, max, and select the time frame for the parabolic SAR if you have selected the index at number 2. It considers the second parabolic SAR signal for the sell position and the second parabolic SAR signal for the buy position at the low and high, and it performs the trailing stop. In the next option, there's the Heikin Ashi indicator, where you can select the index and time frame, along with the activation point for the trailing stop, which, if you have set the index to 2. Here I'm setting the time frame to 4 hours so that our primary time frame is 1 hour, and the time frame we want to choose for the high-low bar is on 4 hours. If you have a buy position, it considers the second candle, or based on the index you've chosen, and sets the trailing stop at the lowest price of the second candle. If you're in a sell position, it identifies the highest price of the second candle as the trailing stop and adjusts the stop accordingly. Here you can choose your desired time frame of your choice. The next indicator is the Bollinger Bounce that you prefer. If you have chosen the buy position, the lower band of the Bollinger Band, and if you are in a sell position, the upper band of the Bollinger Band, are considered as the trailing stub movement. In the index section, you can select the candle of your choice. By default, we have set the number 2 here so that it considers the second candle and performs the trailing stub on the second candle. And finally, there's the zigzag indicator, which sets the trailing stops here based on pivot points in such a way that, in the example, here we have the zigzag level. If we are currently in a buy position here, the trailing stop is on this specific range. And if we are in a sell position, the trailing stop is on this particular level. Exactly, precisely. In this section, you can select the DB, along with the division and index of the zigzag level, along with the time period, for calculating the zigzag levels. A very important point in all these indicators and calculations is that if you are in a buy position, and for example, the moving average you selected, E, is in a 1 hour time frame, I, will select the moving average and set the moving average calculation time frame to 4 hours. If the moving average is within the loss limit, the trailing stop will break even and move to the break-even point so that if your candle looks like this in your position and the moving average is within the loss limit, the trailing stop will shift to the break-even point and will not enter the profit zone. If the moving average is within the loss limit, the trailing stop moves to the break-even point and does not enter the profit zone. You definitely need to choose settings that keep the indicator within the profit zone and perform the calculations for you. Or for example, if you have selected parabolic CR and if you've chosen a level for the trailing stop and it falls within the loss limit, the trailing stop will move to the break-even point and become a break-even. Finally, there's the magic panel where you can also select the trade volume based on a lot, percentage, or dollar amount. Choose either a buy or sell position. There is a magic panel where you can also select the volume to trade in terms of a percentage or dollar lot. Choose a buy or sell position. I'm going to draw the excess levels from the chart. Here I'm selecting a volume of 1 lot O for a buy position. I can easily switch the buy position here. If I mistakenly set the stop loss light for the position and execute the buy position, it won't be executed for me. Also, to determine the pending level of the profit tick, the entry point, and the stable are placed with today, and by clicking on the Yes option. My pending is set, and clicking on the New Pending button will clear my pending. If I select the Yes option, a message will be displayed to me as a confirmation to enter the trade. Or, seeding is considered pending, which is cancelled by clicking on the New button, and by clicking on the Yes button, your pending is confirmed. And you can see the new position and pending in this section. As we see here, the pending has been cancelled for me. Or for example, in this section, I have stable in this section, tick profit in this section, and by clicking on the Yes option, it will prompt me to enter a trade or a lot, and by clicking on the New option, I will deactivate the position mode. In the lower options section, you can easily and efficiently oversee and manage your trades. And by activating the first option, which is considered as 1. Click trading. Your trades will execute without confirmation. Here we see that no confirmation was shown for me to enter the transaction. In the next section, you can enable the trailing stub mode, which is connected to these two panels. By activating the breakpoint button, this section is enabled or disabled for me, and by clicking on the Close 50% button, it closes my last position by 50%, exiting the trade. Here, I entered with a volume of 1 lot, and by clicking on the Close 50% option, we can see that my trade volume decreases by 50%. Finally, there is the Close All option available. If I have a game, deal on the sample, by clicking on the Close All option, it will close all trades for me with 1 click. Well, friends, we've reached the end of this indicator tutorial. We would be happy if you share your comments and suggestions with us in the comments section